Hello again, this is Dr. Hufstader here, and I wanted to give you another quick video update and give you some information that might be very important to you about insomnia. And if you do have insomnia, if you're dealing with insomnia, I know this information is very important to you because people who deal with insomnia for any length of time can become desperate to get some sleep, and I know it's terrible. I've had problems sleeping a time or two in my life, and only for short periods, but people who have stretches of weeks and months at a time where they have problems falling asleep has got to be one of the most miserable and desperate situations there is. In our practice, because we don't deal with symptoms in our practice, the way we practice, we have to find the cause of a problem before we can help somebody. In other words, we don't prescribe any drugs, any sleeping pills. We have to find the cause of the problem before we can help somebody. We find there are basically three types of insomnias. There are some others, but the vast majority of people will fall into three separate categories. The first category, which is probably the most common, would be the insomnia of adrenal insufficiency. Adrenal insufficiency. And the adrenal glands are two little glands that sit above the kidneys, whose job it is to secrete stress hormones. One of these hormones will stimulate the liver to secrete glucose, that is blood sugar, into the blood to maintain a constant blood sugar. So as blood sugar drops, the adrenal glands will have to stimulate the liver to secrete enough glucose to keep the blood sugar stable. When we, after dinner and it's time to go to bed and you lie down in bed, the adrenal glands will have to begin secreting cortisol. And cortisol is this stress hormone that tends to raise blood sugar or stimulate the liver to raise blood sugar. If somebody has significant adrenal insufficiency, the adrenal glands will be so sluggish to begin secreting the stress hormones that the body will be driven to stay awake because it's the wakefulness that provides the stimulation to the adrenal glands that's necessary, because they can't sort of self-stimulate. This person will have very little energy all day long. The energy will really hit a low about early to mid-afternoon, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. But then suddenly after dinner, at bedtime, 9, 10 o'clock, 10:30, they'll catch their second wind, and all of a sudden be able to do all kinds of things, and they'll be shuffling around, writing letters and vacuuming at 11 o'clock at night. This is the classic case of adrenal insufficiency. And 11:30 rolls around, the person knows, I got to get to bed, but they climb in bed and can't fall asleep. And they'll lay there for hours and not be able to fall asleep. And finally, when they do fall asleep, they sleep soundly, but then wake up exhausted. This is a very common type of insomnia. And in this case, the person needs help with their adrenal glands. There's lots of things that we do for the adrenal glands, and I'm not going to get into too much of a discussion as far as how to feed the adrenal glands, but licorice root tea is a pretty good choice for some of these people. Also to ensure that there's plenty of sodium in the diet. That is, if there's salt cravings for these people, they probably ought to be giving in to them. The second type of insomnia also relates to blood sugar, but the problem with these people is that they can fall asleep just fine, and they crash out without any problem. But then a few hours later, they wake up and can't get back to sleep. And this is a case where there's a liver insufficiency. So the patient falls asleep fine, the adrenal glands secrete cortisol just fine, but the liver, for whatever reason, and there's probably a half dozen different potential reasons, but the liver can't, for whatever reason, respond to the cortisol. It doesn't secrete enough glucose to keep the blood sugar constant. So the blood sugar drops and the person is roused from their sleep and can't get back to sleep. And this is somebody who's obviously going to need some help with their liver. And there are a lot of different ways that we do that as well in this office. But this person could probably benefit from a piece of fruit before they go to bed. So a fruit type dessert before they go to bed. And then the third type of insomnia is what I call vasomotor instability. All this means is that they have a problem modulating the blood flow, controlling their blood flow through their vascular tree, their vascular compartment. And this person may have blood pressure problems, either hypertension or hypotension, high blood pressure or low blood pressure. But the problem that they encounter is that they have an excess perfusion of blood to the brain, and excess, too much metabolic activity in the brain. And this person may complain of headaches, but they'll really be the person that complains about they just go to bed and their mind is racing. Too much internal dialogue keeps them awake at night. And for this person, believe it or not, hyperventilation before they go to bed can be very effective. There are a lot of other things that we do in this office, but hyperventilation can be very effective for these types of patients. So there's obviously a lot more to this story, and I want to keep these videos short. I don't want to make them 2 hours long. We could easily talk for 2 hours on the topic, and it's fascinating, and I love to treat insomnia patients. But I hope this was helpful to you, and if I can be of any further help to you, please don't hesitate. Email me, call our office, schedule an appointment, and we'd be happy to see if we can help you. I truly appreciate you listening to this. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.